This is as pop music should be, a spontaneous eruption of the wisdom of vitality. You can't beat it.
Do you know at which occasion this was recorded?
No, but it could have been any occasion, because
Okay.
every time we have this introduction to our set,
Yeah.
it's like a clarion call. It's like something
Yeah.
the Romans or the Celts or
Fanfare.
a fanfare.
Yeah. But
It,
this,
it alerts people to the idea that something very special is about to happen.
okay. Was recorded at Madstock, actually.
There we are.
And there was, it was reported that there was something like an earthquake at your first Madstock
There was an
concert.
earthquake.
Is it true?
There was an earthquake, yes, because we hadn't played together for 8 years, and we kind of lost our way a little bit, emotionally and spiritually and musically. And we came back together, and 35,000 people turned up, and then we did 2 shows, so 70,000 people. So they were all jumping up and down at the same time. And apparently a woman in an apartment, her sofa, her settee, what do you call this, the chair,
Yeah.
was moving towards the window because apparently there was an underground lake. So when everyone was jumping up and down, it created an earthquake. Yeah, 4.5 on the Richter scale, which is quite good, I think.
Amazing. Okay, next tune.
In and out the Westway, across the traffic lights. What a great traffic system, it's so bright. I can't think of a better way to spend the night than being around when I hit the yellow light. Funnily enough, in England we have a show called Desert Island Discs, and you take your 10 favourite records of all time.
Okay.
And this is one of the songs that I took by The Clash. Yeah, I remember I was living in central London, and The Clash spray painted on our radio station. It was called Capital Radio, and I didn't know who they were, but 1977, of course, 1977. And I went to a club called the Roxy, and I was 16 years old, and I saw a band called Eater.
Never heard.
Yeah, they were a punk band from them days. And they were 14 years old, the whole band. And I suddenly realised that something very special was happening with punk. And it was a great time to be alive, of course. And the Clash were fantastic. I loved the Clash, yeah.
Have you ever met Joe Strummer, who died
Yeah, I
a
met
couple
Joe
of years
Strummer.
ago?
Yeah, I met Joe Strummer. I met Joe Strummer the night before he died.
Oh, is it?
Yes, I was in a club in Soho, and he told me that I should become an actor. But the Clash, yeah, I mean, but then we were in some sort of competition when we started. You know, who was really kind of appealing to the kids, you know, and we were really appealing to young kids, and the Clash were already becoming a sort of rock and roll icon. But the Clash were brilliant, yeah, absolutely brilliant. Jesus Christ, can I go to bed in a minute? Yeah, Ian Jury, yeah, the most influential person on the band Madness, of course. Like the Kinks, you know, what we learnt from them was to sing in your own vernacular, which means to sing in your own voice. You don't have to sing like an American, you know, which is everyone else was doing. Everyone in England was singing like Americans. This is good. We were very close to the Specials, obviously. They gave us our first break. The first record we ever released was on two-tone. I used to follow the Specials, you know. When we weren't playing gigs, I used to go on tour with the Specials. And I remember that Jerry once had a ghetto blaster, you know.
Yeah, it was a big radio.
And he threw it in the air in Brighton. And it was one of those times when there was some bits falling off a satellite that was supposed to land in England. And he shouted, "Sputnik!" And poosh, the thing smashed on the floor.
They always had a very political attitude.
He had a very political attitude.
You.
Yeah, in contrast to us, yeah. But, you know, the first real tour that we ever did was the two-tone tour. And it was a great learning experience because we were all very moral people, but we didn't have any political perspective. And we learned from the Specials, certainly from Jerry. My favourite song, yeah.
About London.
But not just my favourite song about London, my favourite song because nobody's really covered this song. I think Kathy Dennis tried to cover it, But ironically, everybody has it often in England in their top 10 favourite records, but nobody can cover this song because it has an atmosphere that is intrinsic to the music.
Yeah.
It's not just the words and the chords. The atmosphere of the way it was recorded is very London. Okay, stop. We always play this song, funnily enough, when we come off stage.
They are very British, and I suppose Madness is very British as well.
Well, I don't know, you know, it's like looking from the inside out. And when you talk about British, I don't feel British. I do feel like a Londoner. But London, you know, because it's the most culturally diverse, interesting place in the world, you know. John Lennon, yeah, I love John Lennon. I think that, you know, I think it's part of what you might think of as the story of Britain, you know, the Beatles, of course. But for us, you know, they were just part of our lives. And that particular song, I'm Only Sleeping, wasn't a single.
No.
But I think it's one of the best songs they recorded. And I did a version, a pretty bad version of it. But yeah, John Lennon, I think, sums up a lot of what is great about Britain. That's a dark sense of humour and a moral responsibility.
There were some critics who said that Norton Fogate was your Sergeant Pepper's in a way. We discussed that at the phone, you remember?
Indeed.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, who knows? I think it's very hard to compare yourself to the Beatles, but we for sure tried to make a great album of British pop music, for want of a better word. And certainly the Beatles are very important in our understanding of popular culture, yeah. Elvis Costello was the first person I ever heard that said, the greatest thing about British pop music is we take other music and we get it slightly wrong. And that's so true with that, you know. We dug that a lot because, you know, it was reggae, but it wasn't trying to be slavishly copying reggae. It was a
something very
version,
unique.
yeah, a version, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a great gig tonight.
Thank
We're looking
you.
forward to it. And
We'll look backwards at it afterwards.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome. I've got to go to bed.
Thank you very much.
You want another smoke?
No, I've got to lie down. My head on the pillow.